Tal, you are a digital creator and activist. You had originally gained notoriety from your travels, and you're documenting your travels on your YouTube channel, the Traveling Collect. You'll have to explain to me what that means. You're born to a Mizrahi Jewish family of Iraqi descent. You traveled to more than 70 countries.
Yeah, I just did 77 a couple of days ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Prior to October 7th. And, you know, I scrolled down to pre-October 7th to follow what your life was like. And God, it was different. So let's just dive right in. I know you've since October 7th moved to Israel and your life has completely changed. So I really want to talk about your life sort of like pre-October 7th and then focus more on post-October 7th. So take it away.
Well, I started traveling at the age of 17. I went on this trip to Africa for around a month to Zambia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and South Africa on my own. And it sort of unlocked this world of possibility of being a travel content creator. Travel content creation was just at its like infancy there. There was one generation before when I started. And I fell in love with this idea of being a digital nomad. I didn't know that you could just choose a career and travel. So I started doing it as a hobby. I would just go work a random job. I worked as like a busboy. I worked as a cook in a pet shop. I would earn enough money, quit the job, and then go travel and make a video about it. And it was very passive for the first 3 years. Then one summer I was here in Israel, and I said, I want to find a more creative way to get back to South Florida where I was living. And I took a cargo ship from Italy. I hitched a ride on a cargo ship across the Atlantic Ocean for like a month.
In a cargo box?
Not in an actual cargo box. I was around them, but not in the box itself.
Wow.
And that video like kicked off my career. It went super viral because I was the first one to sort of document it. I was on the front page of Reddit and dig.com. I was on the news, and it gave me money. It gave me a bunch of subscribers and views and notoriety. Wow. And then I was able to funnel that into a full career where I just did the most random, crazy adventures. I traveled from London to Seoul, South Korea without touching a plane, just by trains, cars, boats, like halfway across planet Earth. It was the most amazing lifestyle in the world. Before October 7th, I sort of built a life for myself in the Philippines. I had set up a Chabad house there. I was kind of like a rabbi during the pandemic, which was an amazing privilege. I built a home. And then once October 7th happened, it just sort of, it destroyed my reality. Like I never want to compare it to what my grandparents went to in Iraq. But I remember like my grandfather, before he passed away, when you asked him about what it was like to like get kicked out of his home, you could see this like pain in his eye that never recovered. And I was somebody who always grew up sort of in between two worlds. Like I never felt Israeli enough to be in Israel, never felt American enough to be in America. So I was always kind of looking for a home. Philippines was like my home. Wow. It's like a place where I found like I was living on a small island. It was amazing. And when October 7th happened, it was like people that I loved, that I was friends with for 5 years, my neighbors, my friends. It was a notable shift in attitude. It really broke my heart. Like it was something I couldn't come to terms with.
And did they know you were Israeli?
Of course.
And they were very close to you despite that?
Yeah. Yeah, we never had these conversations before. Like even we survived this massive typhoon in 2021. There was a huge typhoon that hit this island. The Israeli community, literally, we raised $50,000 for giving back to this community, to this island. And again, I would never pass all Filipinos or even all the people on this island as anti-Israel, never. But there was like a very notable community on this island that kind of turned on us October 8th.
How do you explain that?
I don't know. It's still something I kind of struggle with. I really don't know. Like, I don't have a good answer because these are people who are non-political, not involved in the Middle East. They didn't know anything about the Middle East.
Yeah. And they loved you. You were their friend.
Yeah.
You weren't like a stranger that they turned on, okay? But you had developed these deep friendships. It's so confusing to me. On October 8th.
On October 8th. Oh, yeah. It was a notable like feeling on October 8th. I was also like a content creator there. I was quite like people knew who I was on the street.
Yeah.
I had a big following there. I was helping out local businesses and working with a lot of local businesses. And again, I'm not saying like everybody turned on us, but it was to the point where like we would sit as a group of Israelis or Jews on the island and we'd have somebody following us with Free Palestine stickers, putting them in a place where after we left, like it was very, I couldn't deal with it. Like I had a hard time with it. It really,
I can imagine. So how did you get back to Israel?
So when October 7th happened, I was sitting in my home there. I didn't know what to do. Like I was like everybody, we were all sort of lost. And I didn't serve
Yep.
in the army, so I didn't have like I didn't get the zimun, the call to come back to Israel. Like many of my friends who were there had to go back and deploy. So I hesitated on leaving. I hesitated on staying.
Yeah.
I ended up staying for a little while, for 3 months. On October 10th, I finally like broke my silence because I just couldn't hold it in anymore. And I made my first Hasbara video, basically sitting and announcing all the Arabs that were killed by Hamas on October 7th. And the video like really took off. It was the first video of mine on anything to do with Israel that really took off. And it was getting shared all over the world and shared in all these pro-Israel pages. And then I panicked because I was like, well, I've been the happy-go-lucky, peaceful travel guy for the last 10 years of my life. I'm about to literally destroy my career by shifting into the pro-Israel perspective. I have guilt about even thinking about this, but I hesitated. I was like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of new followers and views and this. And I was like, let me go silent and think about what I want to do. So I sat for 3 months and I continued working on my house. I was trying to figure out what is my heart telling me to do. But month after month, it got worse and it got worse and it got worse. And I saw people even in the travel community, like friends of mine that like really knew me, just go full blatant anti-Semite. Like it was the weirdest experience in the world. There's people who were just with me. Like people, we were partying on the island. We were having fun. These are travel vloggers, like people who are part of the peaceful travel community, expressing love and travel. And it was just like all of a sudden white colonizers, genocider, this. I'm having conversations with people. They're calling me a white colonizer nonchalantly. And I'm like, what happened to the world? Look at my grandma. My grandma's getting rockets fired upon her. She's a refugee. She never served in the army. She never killed anybody. Where's my right? Like where's our right to exist? 3 months in, I blew some sort of cap. I reached my limit. I sold everything I owned there. I packed up my bags and I flew here one way. The goal was just to deliver the truth because I couldn't take seeing what was going on. So I just started doing everything I could on the ground. It was before I even touched Instagram. I went to Be'eri. I fundraised for different kibbutzim. I was helping some lone soldiers out as much as I could. I have a lot of friends who are in Golani, so I tried to like support them as much as possible. That's like sort of my brigade. I love them with my heart. These are like my brothers, my soldiers. Yeah. And I just tried to do as much as I could on the ground, covering the war while I was here. And it sort of turned into a career now, which is like the weirdest thing in the world.
And are you satisfied? Do you feel like you're where you should be?
I'm a really adaptable person. And I've been through a lot of different phases in my life. Yeah. There was a certain point where I was the island in the Philippines guy, the cargo ship guy, the New York guy, because I lived in New York. And at one point in my career, I had the #1 travel guide on New York City on YouTube. Wow. So I've shifted in a lot of different arenas. I don't know if I've ever received the satisfaction that I get from doing what I do now. Yeah. Because I actually feel for the first time, I'm really making like a really big impact on the world and people are listening to me. It's a battle. Like it's not perfect. I really do feel like I'm fighting for my name and my message to get out there more and more. But definitely there's a level of satisfaction I've never received in any other space before.
Yeah. And who do you think you're reaching out to?
The mission for me has always been Arabs. Yeah. Always. It's #1. It's from day one. If you look at my track record, the first video I made, it was targeted at Arabs.
Yeah. Why?
Because this must sound a little weird. I have like a sort of a kinship and a love for them that I cannot explain.
Is it upside down?
Habibi?
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I've been wearing this for like 4 years now.
Yeah.
I'm like dying to learn Arabic.
Yeah. So I've been in a course for the last year learning.
Is it hard?
I'm struggling with it, but I picked up a good amount, but it's like a weird feeling where my whole life we were raised in sort of an Arabized household where my grandparents spoke fluent Arabic. My mom speaks fluent Arabic. Like it's really? Part of the culture of our family, but we were also raised to like be somewhat fearful, especially of Palestinians. But also, like, one of my dad's best friends is an Arab from Yafo, and he pretty much grew up like my uncle. Wow. And I have so much love for him. My landlords right now are Arab. Like, I have such a deep-seated love for Arabs, even for Palestinians, that I cannot explain. So everything that I do when I wake up to when I go to sleep to all of the content that I create, it's really just targeted towards them because from a certain place, I want us to be best friends. You know, it
I
sounds a
get
little
it.
childish.
I
but
totally understand.
yeah,
And it would be so easy because like you have so much in common
Yeah.
and there's so much, of course, that divides you. I'm not being unrealistic, but like it could just be so you could be partying it up with them
yeah.
and traveling the world with them. I know.
I also believe like if this region, if we were able to put our differences to the side for a moment, we've got the best history,
Yeah.
the best tourist attractions, the best beaches, the best food,
Best food.
the best people, the culture, the music.
Yep.
This region could be America, and I'd say this as a proud American. I love
Yeah.
America, but America would be an afterthought. Like we would be
100%.
the most powerful, unstoppable region in the world if we could come together. And that really inspires me because when I see the average Lebanese send me a message, or the average Iraqi or Egyptian, like yesterday I had an Egyptian blowing up my phone. I love Israel. I love Israel. I love what you do. That stuff pushes me to keep going because I'm like, I know we just need to figure out that like one or two things to make the peace.
Yeah.
And we are unstoppable. Like it's for all of us. It's for all our kids. It's for the future. Like we will be the most amazing region in the world.
I just love that. And I love it because it's not idealistic and it's optimistic, but it's so tangible. Like I can imagine it. I want to talk about the kafia.
Okay.
Because it seems like that's something that what you've been posting about is actually the kafia comes not from the Palestinian cause, where Arafat like had it become his fashion statement, but it really comes from a lot earlier. I want you to explain that, but maybe like your version of how we could all come together is we could all just wear the kafia, like have a kafia rave or something.
Yeah, I actually,
go ahead.
I never take, I know I got like a little bit of notoriety from this point, but I never take the perspective that Palestinians shouldn't wear the kafia.
Okay.
It's just about like knowing your history. And then I believe that those things unwind on their own.
Okay.
My point is like the people in the West who cry about cultural appropriation. Like, for example, there's African Americans who will say you can't wear dreadlocks or braids if you're not African American. I can respect that point. I don't agree with it. I can respect the point, but you have to have like cultural equality, right?
Sure.
You can't also be a Palestinian or a white person in America wearing a kafia when it doesn't come from your culture. Like how does that work? How can you appropriate one culture but not the other?
Right.
I believe in cultural appropriation. I am the product of cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
I'm a person who traveled to 77 countries. I am trapped between two nationalities. I am the most culturally identity confused person in the world.
Right.
I have Japanese in me. I have Filipino in me. I have Thai in me. I have South Asian in me from my time living in Sri Lanka. Like I've gravitated to so many cultures. So I never take the perspective you shouldn't be able to wear it.
Yeah. And cultural appropriation is a negative term. And you're saying it should actually be a positive thing. It's such like a compliment to the culture. Like I want to wear what you are because it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about the kafia and
pull it up. I want you to hold it and I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
So you can see what it is. So first and foremost, let's start with the fact that this isn't really called a kafia.
Okay.
That's the Arabized term for this.
Okay.
This is called a shmach.
Shmach.
Shmach. Shmach is a Mesopotamian word.
Okay.
It meant like headscarf. Mesopotamia is a region, if you're not familiar with it, is where Iraq is today. It's where Babylon was. Like Baghdad is where Babylon was.
Okay.
So Iraq is ancient Mesopotamia. The people of Iraq are the ancient Mesopotamians. They're the descendants of the Akkadians, the Sumerians, the Mesopotamians, some parts Assyrian, some parts Kurdish. I mean, they're a mix.
Wow.
Ibrahim, the forefather of all of our people, he came from Mesopotamia to Canaan, to the Levant, to Israel. So this headscarf was popularized by the people of the Iraqi marsh of South Iraq. We don't know exactly when it was created, but there's even statues from ancient Mesopotamia, like the Sargon of Akkad or Gilgamesh, that have patterns around their faces that really resemble these designs. So they've been able to look at artifacts to say, hey, this is really ancient Mesopotamia.
This is pre-Islam.
This is pre-everything. This is even pre-Judaism.
Okay.
This is very, very, very old. So these designs, this is what the narrative of the Iraqi marsh people of today, they say. These are for the fishing nets that represent those ancient fishing communities that fished in the marshes. And also, it correlates to these two stripes in the middle of the kafia.
Yep.
They represent the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers, which are the lifeblood of Mesopotamia. They're also the very famous rivers from the Bible. People know them. They cut right through Baghdad. There's actually the rivers that my grandpa swam in as a kid.
Wow.
I have photos of him swimming in these rivers. So that's what these lines stand for. And then these designs here, they stand for the ripples on the river. And so this is something that culturally,
Beautiful.
it's amazing, especially when you understand what its meaning is. But if you ask the average Palestinian, and I've tested this, they have no idea.
Yeah.
If you ask the average Palestinian activist, they have no idea.
Huh.
They don't know about this because they never learned the history. I actually think since my video kind of went viral on it, people now started arming themselves with a new Palestinian narrative, which is like there's olive leaves and trade routes and olives. But, you know.
Oh, that's an olive?
Yeah, it's supposed to be an olive, even though it clearly looks like a fishing net.
Yeah.
Pre-67, pre-Yasser Arafat making it popular within the PLO and Palestinian terrorism, it wasn't really used in this region. You can find some very rare photos before 1930s of people in this land wearing it.
Yeah.
But if you go to Iraq, you will see predominantly people wearing it in Iraq of old photos. Everybody in Iraq was wearing this. This was an Iraqi garb. And when I talk to the average Iraqi today, I tell them, do you know what this is? They go, yeah, it's a shmach. And I was like, who stole this from you? For the Palestinians. I'm like, wow. I was like, you know, this, it's either this one or this one. This one. This one was brought to me from a friend who served in the IDF in the Golani Brigade during this war. He got this from the house of a Hezbollah terrorist from southern Lebanon. You give me one reason why a Lebanese terrorist should be wearing this. Yeah. Like, where is the justification in using this for violence against women and children in northern Israel when this came from a beautiful community, a beautiful culture in Iraq that has nothing to do with Arabs, nothing to do with Islam? Why should people be wearing this drenched in blood, yelling Allahu Akbar to kill people they don't agree with? It's such a disgusting appropriation of culture, in my opinion. That's why I get so passionate about talking about it, because when you learn the truth about this, you realize, like, this shouldn't be associated with terrorism. This is somebody's, like, culture, you know?
Yeah. And did Jews in Iraq wear this?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So tell me about that. What's the purpose of it? Is it to keep your head cool?
It's to protect you, yeah. It's to protect you from the sun, from the elements. It's like you could wear it as a hat. It's a very diverse thing. Like, you could wear it as a scarf when it gets cold to keep you warm. Yeah. You could wear it as a hat to protect you from the sun. When you're in the deserty regions, you can cover your eyes with it the way that we see some Palestinian terrorists wearing it today to cover their identity. Yeah. You can wear it like that to protect you from dust and wind. I mean, it's the most universal thing in the world. And the way it got the name kafia is just because when Iraq got Arabized, the city of Kufa is where this was said to have been invented. And so they reappropriated the city Kufa into kafia. Wow. Yeah.
That's so interesting. So a lot of your work is to bring out the many, many different populations, the rich, rich diversity in this region. What do you want people to understand about this whole region, the Middle East, and that it's not Arabs? Who is it? Like, what's the story? What is the demographic in the Middle East?
Oh my God, I love this question so much. It's my favorite thing in the world. We're going to do a little quiz. We're going to play a little quiz.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, I have to answer?
Yeah. No, you're going to get it right because you're Jewish. The only people who struggle answering this are usually Muslims or Arabs because they just can't come to terms with it. Okay. North America. We're both American. You're American? We're both American. We love our country.
Well, I'm also Israeli. I was born here.
Same. So I'm Israeli American. But we can both acknowledge we love America. I'm not saying this as a slight to the United States of America. But North America, 400 years ago, was full of diverse cultures of Native Americans. Yes, they were fighting each other. It was wild, but there was diverse cultures and religions and spiritual beliefs. Okay? Europeans came, and now a majority of the population, not everybody, majority speaks English and practices Christianity. What is that a result of?
Colonization.
Beautiful. Amazing. Okay, let's do another one. Part 2 of the quiz. South America used to be full of diverse religions, natives, indigenous people, spiritual beliefs. Around 500 years ago, the Spanish arrive, and mostly now everybody speaks Spanish and practices Catholicism. It's a product of
colonization.
Amazing. Last one. This is a difficult one that people usually mess up. From Morocco to Iran today, or before, there used to be tons of different cultures: the Amazigh, the Mandeans, the Assyrians, Jews, the Coptic people, the Maronites, the Syriacs, the Assyrians. There's a million different groups that were here. Yazidis, so much. Kurdish people. Now, from Morocco till Iran, mostly everybody practices one religion, Islam, uses one script in Arabic or phonetic Arabic, Farsi, whatever it be, and is culturally Arab. What would that be a product of?
Colonization.
And when you line it up, the population demographic, it's like almost 500 million Arabs. I don't call them Arabs, I call them Arabized people, but it's like the same as, like, can you imagine just 500 million people blipping into existence. That doesn't even make any sense. Like the population of America is what, 400 million, 300 million. It's like the population of the United States of America just all of a sudden becoming American overnight.
Right.
And this happened really quick in a scale of time.
How did it happen?
Well, you had a group of Arabs who had an identity crisis in between Mecca and Medina, between the Halij, the Hijaz, we call it. And they went out from there using Islam to conquer and conquest in the same way that Christians did, for political power, for religious power, large swaths of planet Earth. And they reached Indonesia, they reached the Philippines, they reached Australia, they reached Austria. They were on the borders of Austria as well at some point. But it was a mission to conquer and convert as many people as possible.
Peacefully?
At some points, there was peace. I will never, ever, ever rob the Arabs from the fact that at some points there were peace. But also on my phone, I have a list of thousands of massacres that were done in the name of Islam just towards Jewish people, not to mention Armenians, not to mention Christians, not to mention all the other demographics that existed in the Middle East. So the legacy of the Arabs is definitely one that was paved in, it's drenched in blood, as much as they try to sell us. And when I ask that little pop quiz, usually when I ask the Arabs, so what is that a product of? Morocco to Iran, they'll be like, no, it's, it's not the same as what the Europeans did. I'm like,
they begged for it. They wanted
it. They came in peace. I'm saying, okay, but all of them, every single one of these 400 million people today are descendants of Arabs peacefully, even though I can give you like documented proof, just not that far away, just 3 generations. My grandparents were kicked out of their homes non-peacefully. Can you imagine how many times that happened in the 1,000-year history that you guys controlled the land?
I might not have totally understood this, but all those demographics that you mentioned before, they were not Arab. They weren't considered Arab until Islam came and Arabized.
Yeah.
And so what were they called? They were just called
there was a bunch of different groups.
Just a bunch of different
Same
groups.
way that in America, we had the Navajo, the Seminoles, the Iroquois. We had a bunch of different groups.
Yeah.
Now they're Americans with that ethnicity.
Okay.
Today you have Iraqis who identify as Arabs.
Yeah.
But when you ask them, like, hey, what are those giant ziggurats, the pyramids of Iraq?
Yeah.
Who built those?
Yeah.
Be like, well, we did. I'm like, so are you Arab or are you Mesopotamian? And then they'll think about it for a second. They'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm not actually Arab.
Right. Well, so if they don't know that they're not Arab, they need to know who they are.
Yeah.
And is there a movement to like reclaim their indigeneity or their...
It's me.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm alone.
Yeah.
I'm alone in this fight. It's like, I think people don't want to touch it at fear of being called racist. And because we have also using like, I call it liberal American policies of race and color. We've pushed people into a corner where they don't feel comfortable talking about race unless they look a certain way. So whatever, I'm brown, I get to jump in and out of the Arab social racial pool whenever I feel like.
Yeah.
Because sometimes for Arabs, I'm an Arab Jew. And when it's not convenient for them, I'm just a Jew.
Right.
And then I'm Indian sometimes, even though I have no connection to India whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
you're also Asian.
I'm also Asian. I get to be whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I do it in bad faith. I say it openly. I do it in bad faith all the time to win the arguments, because there needs to be somebody or someone or a group of people slapping reality into the face of these people whose ego has gotten too big. They believe that they somehow ushered in an era of peace in the Middle East and stability and civilization. When I look around at the Middle East today, and this is what drives me crazy about the pro-Palestinian argument. In Sudan, in Somalia, in Lebanon, in Syria, in Yemen, that's not far from Palestine. That's on the borders of Palestine. There are millions of people dying every single year.
Yeah.
In Sudan, just since the beginning of 2025, it's reached something near 100,000 people. In Somalia, it's nearly 700,000. In Ethiopia, it's 700,000.
What are they dying of?
Civil war, genocide. I mean, like I would call it a genocide if we consider what's happening in Palestine a genocide. Right. The hypocrisy is insane.
Hypocrisy, yeah. What are those anti-Western protesters, pro-Hamasniks? How would they respond to you? Or they just wouldn't want to have the conversation?
When I engaged with them in New York City, a lot of them looked me in the eyes and told me I was a white colonizer.
Is that why you got the hat?
Yeah, I mean, I own it. Because I think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world to look at me and call me a white colonizer.
Obviously, yeah.
But some people do it nonchalantly. Like I had people, they don't do it ironically, they do it for real. So I had some people tell me that that's what I am. But I also had some people, when I spoke to them in the streets of New York, they processed this fight, this war, in such a black and white, in such a binary.
Yeah, it's
And
easier that way.
I've traveled this land up and down.
Yep.
I've been to Palestine. I've been in Ramallah as a citizen. I've been in Nablus as a citizen. I've sat with Hamas members in the West Bank, eye to eye, eating with them, talking with them. And I've done it all documented on my YouTube channel. So if anybody doesn't believe me, you can go and look. And I've sat with Samaritans, with the Bedouins, with the Druze, with the Jews, with the ultra-Orthodox and Masharim, with the super Chilonim, with the gay yoga teachers. I've sat with everyone to understand, if you can come out as somebody who has no ties to this region and say, I know what the solution is.
Right.
I know what's right. You're already wrong.
Yeah.
Because I've done the work and I still don't have a 100% a solution.
Yeah.
But I know that chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, it's a cop-out. It's lazy work.
Yeah.
It's not helping anybody. It's not helping any Palestinians.
Right.
It's not helping any Jews.
Yeah. What were you doing with Hamas? What were you sitting?
I got invited to a special meeting. I can't talk too much about it because it was kind of illegal, but like I got invited with a friend to go and speak to them eye to eye. And
wow.
You know, it's a
like
refugee
recently
camp.
Within the last 2 years?
This was before the war.
Okay.
It's a refugee camp. A lot of refugee camps in the West Bank and Judea and Samaria are overrun by Hamas ideology. Even in East Jerusalem, people forget, like the Mount of Olives, the whole neighborhood there is run by different Palestinian extremist terrorist organizations. The PLO, Fatah is there, Hamas is there, PIJ is there. Then they have tons of other ones too. It's kind of like a tribal family thing.
Wow.
So, you know, I got an invitation to sit with them. We sat down, we had maklube, which is one of their national dishes. And we talked about living here together. We talked about the war. We didn't see eye to eye on pretty much everything, but it was a time of peace. I have a good friend who he's a peace activist. His name is Inon. He used to run an organization called the Habayit, or the Home in Jerusalem. And he used to bring a lot of Israel advocates under the belt to engage with Palestinians. He's trained me a lot in my ideology. But he said something really beautiful to me recently, which is like, there's a time for peace and there's a time for war. And right now, unfortunately, we're in a time of war. It's not the time right now to go to Judea and Samaria to sit down with Palestinians or to talk about peace. Right now, we're fighting a war and we're enemies. Yeah. There will be a day where this war will end and we'll be able to come back to the table together. But, you know, those lessons that I learned with them before the war started, I carry with them with me every single day. Wow. Because it was so real. Like the conviction, the ideology is so real. And it's not really something you can understand until you sit really eye to eye with them. They believe everything they know, all the brainwashing they've received about how we stole the land and that none of us are natives and that we're evil based on religion. They really believe it to be true. Yeah. You know, they really believe it's true.
It's what they've been taught in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think these groups in East Jerusalem stayed quiet after October 7th and didn't come in with terrorist acts?
Well, first they didn't. They've been committing acts of terror since October 7th. Quite a few too.
But I'm saying, like, why didn't they all like rise up and, you know, get together and just come in?
I'll tell you something actually that I learned recently. I'm a part of an organization who gives like content creators debriefs on the war.
Are you in the Mossad?
No, not yet. People tell me I should be.
Okay.
But they give debriefs to content creators about what's going on in the army. And we had a call just around like a week ago. And it was super fascinating because the guy actually, I think, who was talking to us was from the Mossad, or at least high up in the Israeli army. And he was explaining to us exactly what would have happened if Hamas's plan would have come to fruition. And actually, on paper, Hamas didn't just plan the incursion into southern Israel. This was a plan funded and planned by the IRGC, by the Islamic regime of Iran, to do a 7 or 8 front attack from a bunch of different countries. So Hamas was going to attack southern Israel. Hezbollah was supposed to attack northern Israel. Iran was supposed to launch intercontinental ballistic missiles at Israel, while the Houthis jumped in as well, and proxies in Iraq and Syria were supposed to attack as well. Now, I didn't get this information, but what I've deduced from all of this is that Hamas, people say they wanted an ego by showing that they were the first to attack.
Sure.
I actually think that there's some element of truth that people say Israel knew about October 7th before it happened. But I think that the Israeli army didn't know when it was going to happen. Okay. We know, we have intelligence, and we know that Israel knew that something was coming. But I think that they may have tried to plan some sort of counteroffensive. Hamas caught wind of that, and what they did instead was they undermined everybody, all the proxies at the same time, and said, we're going to attack first. We're going to get on this first. And hopefully all our allies
will jump in.
But I learned recently, by the time that Hamas attacked, Israel had already mobilized armies, soldiers to the north.
Right.
So Hezbollah couldn't really get in. They didn't want to get in.
Yeah.
Iran was caught with their pants down. They weren't ready. Neither were the Houthis. And the proxies in the West Bank, the ones who are affiliated with Hamas, were left with this decision of, we attack now, or do we save this for another day? And, when you ask the average settler in the West Bank right now, they will tell you they are preparing for an October 7th attack, because they know that that's what's going on in the West Bank. Palestinians are arming themselves to the teeth. And by virtue also, settlers or Jews in the West Bank are also arming themselves. So there's something bubbling.
Wow.
But that's my theory as to why they didn't attack, is because Hamas just kind of jumped the gun on everybody.
Yeah. And they Sinwar bet on them all joining, and he lost that bet. Yeah.
And that shows you, by the way, the cohesion of operation between Arabs. Like, people say they believe in this concept known as the Ummah, which is one Islamic family altogether. But in that Ummah, the Shia-Sunni split starts, and they're like, well, Shias aren't real Islam.
Yeah.
And the Shias are like, Sunni is not real Islam.
Right.
And then all the different groups.
Intertribal hatred, right?
Hatred.
Yeah.
Like, even in Palestine.
Yeah.
The Palestinians or the Arabs of Tel Aviv hate the Palestinians of Jerusalem. They won't even marry each other.
Wow.
I mean, I lived in Yaffo during the summer. There were gunfights every night, not between Jews and Arabs, between Arab Christians and Arab Muslims.
Wow.
This is a known thing. It's every single night. And like, the Bedouins of the north hate the Bedouins of the West Bank. The Bedouins of the West Bank hate the Bedouins of the south. The Druze in the north can't get together with the Druze in the Golan because they can't see eye to eye. They don't fight violently. But, the Bedouins in the north, they think they're like the high class and they serve in the army. The Bedouins in the south identify more as Palestinian and see themselves as the lower class. It's like there's so much hatred between the different groups. Like, when you ask me, what is a Palestinian? What is a Palestinian narrative? I'm like, what? You tell me. What is it? What does all this mean?
Right. Can we leverage that for our cause as Israel?
So I believe in relinquishing a new identity to these people, which is, I believe in the de-Arabization of the Middle East.
Okay.
Not by force, but by just offering a different, like an alternative.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, listen, I recognize that nobody sees you as a real Arab. Like, let's just take the Lebanese as an example. The people who I think we have the closest opportunity to make peace with soon. The Lebanese people are tired.
Yeah.
And it's not tired because they fought hard. It's because they like to party. And they don't care about Islam. They don't care about war. They want to sit at coffee shops and they want to shop at Gucci stores. That's what the people in Lebanon want to do.
Yeah.
They do not care about radical Islam. They don't want to fight for Allah. They don't want to fight for the Ummah.
They're more similar to Israelis.
They're so Israeli. And they're like the number one following I have from the Arab world. So they talk to me all the time. They're so Israeli. They're like the most Israeli people. Like, if we just didn't have the small cultural Arabism thing between us, we'd be best friends. Like, I think we would have absorbed them, or they would have absorbed us at this point. It would be like
one big chamula.
Yeah. So when I think about the Lebanese, I'm like, Hayati, you're not Arab. You know you're not Arab. And they, even if you call them Arabs, it's like the inner joke in Arab circles. When you call a Lebanese person Arab, they get all defensive. They're like, no, I'm not Arab. I'm Phoenician, I'm Greek, I'm Roman, but Arab, I'm not Arab, because they don't want to associate with being an Arab. They see it as a bad thing.
Right.
And so Arabs don't see them as Arab. They don't see themselves as Arab. Okay, let's give you a new identity. Why are you fighting for being an Arab when nobody acknowledges that you're Arab anyways? And it's the same for Egyptians and for Moroccans. Moroccans see themselves more as Amazigh now than they do as Arab. And that's a big cultural change that's happening. It's the same for Syrians. It's the same for Iraqis. Iraqis are having a big awakening right now where they realize, hey, we're not really Arabs. So I believe taking advantage of our cause is not, I don't need you to become a Zionist.
Right.
I don't need you to become pro-Israel. I don't need you to love Jewish people. You can stay an anti-Semite if you want to be an anti-Semite.
Totally, yeah.
Just unlock a new identity. Be authentically you. You're Iraqi, be a Mesopotamian. You don't have to shed the Islam. You don't have to shed the Arabism. I don't need you to start praying to idols, start praying to Gilgamesh or the different gods. I just want you to know who you are. And I really do believe that the rest will follow. Because when you buy into this idea, I'm an Arab, I'm an Arab, I gotta be with the rest of them. Your walls are so up high, but when you knock it down and you give them a new identity and you say, you're part of something way more beautiful.
Yeah.
Your history doesn't come from Mecca. Come on, it doesn't.
Like reclaim yourself.
Yeah, reclaim your new identity. People love a new identity.
Right.
Even like I see this with Jews in the West too. Like when you give them a connection to their deeper lineage here in the land of Israel and tell them they're the descendants of the Hashmonaim and the Maccabim and they're fighters and they're warriors and they're this and they're that, they also get a new energy they carry.
Right.
I think the same thing. And we just need to deliver that message with love and with compassion.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of slapping in the face and a bit of demeaning when I first start because you need to.
Yeah.
And I learned that lesson from fellow Arabs who taught me this is how we talk. It's how you have to do it.
Yeah.
But when you get past all the bullshit slapping and you get to a point of love, you have to deliver that message with, I'm saying this because I love you, not because I hate you.
Right.
Not because I want anything bad for you. It's because I genuinely love you. I want to make peace with you.
Well, I feel like if anyone can do it, you can. I really do. I mean, you really are sort of like a bit of all of it. So that's all nice and well.
Okay.
But what are you going to do about jihadism and all that?
Yeah.
Like, they're just going to be like, okay, fine, go back to who you were. What are we doing about that?
Jihadism is a funny thing to contend with because ironically enough, the toxic masculinity that we've analyzed in the West is actually the solution to the fight with jihadism.
Okay.
I have an Arab Druze friend who told me recently, he told me a year ago when I was in the Golan, a lesson that I carry with me every single day when it comes to dealing with Arabs or dealing with jihad. When you're fighting a jihadi or when you're fighting like a radical Muslim, you deliver your first hit or your first attack and you finish them. They're very hurt, they're very damaged. Without announcing, you hit again even harder than you hit the time before. And when they're waving the white flag, when they're asking to surrender and they're saying, I don't want to fight anymore, you hit the hardest you've ever hit. Not because you hate this person, not because you want to extinguish them, not because you want to exterminate them, because this is how the Arab world fights. Look at the Arab world and look at their wars. In any Arab country, they are unwilling and unable to admit defeat. They don't admit defeat. They never wave the right flag and say, we lost.
Exactly. But you're saying they have to wave the white flag and then you hit them again, but they're not waving the white flag.
So let's say you bring them to that point.
Okay.
You have to hit them hard. If you can ever bring them to a point of waving the white flag.
But they're not going to wave the white flag.
So you keep hitting them until you break not the society, but you break that group.
Is that what you're suggesting that the IDF do with Hamas in Gaza? Continue?
Well, I think right now we're all at a point of fatigue, and I analyze it not just as the IDF. I think Israel, I think the Arabs, I think the Muslim world, everyone's at a point of fatigue. And I think right now, like the biggest thing on everyone's mind is just seeing whatever hostages we can get back home. For God's sake, just seeing them back home. There's no conversation to be said about if we leave Hamas there, if we leave that ideology there, if we don't do something to occupy that ideology, to instill something different, we're going to be right back where we are right now in a couple of years.
Well, sure. But at the same time, you can't have both. You can't destroy Hamas and bring the hostages home. You have to pick one or the other. Do you agree that you have to pick one or the other? Why can't we pick the hostages and then go finish Hamas later?
Because, we're tied to the United States of America, and the United States of America is not going to let us do that.
Well, we have our ways. Do you think they knew about the pagers?
The U.S.?
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I don't know if they knew about it.
So we can do the reason we can't finish Hamas is because of the hostages.
And the United States of America.
Well,
we're still fighting with our hand behind our back.
But we finished Hezbollah. We didn't
finish Hezbollah.
Well, we severely maimed them.
Yes, but again, this is an ideology you're fighting against. Like if you finish Hamas in Gaza, you still have Hamas in the West Bank. I was sitting next to Hamas last night. I was in Judea and Samaria last night till 2 a.m. Like I saw it firsthand.
Like you were chilling with them? Or?
Not with them, but right next to them. I was in some far out settler outpost, and you see them moving around. It's Hamas. It's not anything else. And if you get rid of Hamas in the West Bank, you still have Hamas in Jordan, and you still have Hamas in the streets of America. This is an ideology. It's an ideological fight you're fighting against.
Right.
So there needs to be, when we think about what we're doing with Gaza, there has to be some sort of plan of action for, okay, no problem. I'm all for right now getting a hostage deal done and getting hostages back home. But there needs to be some sort of end solution where Hamas doesn't stay in power. And we're in a catch-22 situation because America, the United States and Trump, not really 100% going to let us do that. unfortunately.
Well, if anyone's going to let us do it, it's him. Any U.S. president is going to be him.
I don't know. And I liked what Trump has done. I'm not criticizing Trump. I just don't know. I don't know to say for 100% certain that we'll be able to do what we need to do.
Yeah. I'm personally okay without that certainty, and I'd rather just bring everyone back. That's just
I'm with you. I feel you on that right now.
Yeah.
I was more, let's keep going a couple months ago. I'm at the point now where I see we're losing a lot of soldiers, and we're not, I don't know if you know, but Hamas has rigged up Gaza right now with cameras, with CCTV cameras, and the cameras from cars that we've delivered to Gaza in the aid trucks. Imagine they've rigged up all of Gaza as a spiderweb network with explosives, with IEDs. So when our amazing, incredible, courageous, holy warriors go in there, they're getting blown up, and we don't even have a good strategy in fighting it. And it's the saddest thing in the world. Like, we're all mourning when it happens and the news comes out. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm like, it breaks you.
Yeah.
So from a certain perspective, I'm also at that fatigue now. I don't want to see our soldiers dying anymore. Yeah. Not for this.
Yeah. We were talking about colonization and Arabization. There's about 15 million Jews, right, give or take, in the world, and there's 1.8 billion Arabs. So for a bunch of smart people, like I like to think we've done a really shitty job.
Terrible.
Because our ratios are super off. But that's because we don't proselytize, we don't build empires, we don't conquer, we don't do forced conversions. It's actually really hard to become a Jew. You have to really want it. So I'm saying this a little tongue in cheek, but we're so about tikkun olam and humanitarianism and outreach to people that actually hate us. Why aren't Jews smarter? Why aren't we at least bartering our religion for fintech, medtech, humanitarianism? Not even we're not going to be violent about it, but here, we're going to give you ways and just like us, or just, don't hate us. We're stupid in that regard. And the fundamentalists are brilliant. So for such a smart bunch of people, are we arrogant? Do we think it's just David and Goliath over and over again?
I'll tell you, Natalie, I'm going to say something that's kind of controversial. Yeah.
Say it.
I hope it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I preach about this all the time. People are going to get angry at me, but it is what it is. There's two parts to this issue. One, Israelis, completely ignorant to what's going on in the outside world.
Yep.
They are my family has no idea what is going on.
Yep.
And they take a flight to Greece, and Mossad and Shabak are sitting there oh my God, please. Because 15 terrorist groups are planning on how to kill them between Ben Gurion and when they arrive in Rhodos, So that's one part of it. And they're completely oblivious to what's going on, Israelis.
Agree.
The other perspective, brace yourself. The Jewish world has been hijacked by American Jews in the political narrative. And I saw it firsthand when I was in America now. There is no interest in fighting the fight how we need to fight it. The only thing we care about, and I was talking with the settlers in the West Bank about this yesterday, they care about cherry tomato hasbara. They like the Intel chip cherry tomato hasbara. They want to come to you and deliver this idea that we're a democratic, liberal democracy, cherry tomatoes, Intel chips, cell phones, Waze, that's why you got to love us.
Okay.
When you look at public opinion, the world loved us most after 67. When we fought off a bunch of Arab armies that had a genocidal war when they wanted to kill us. When did the world love us most now recently since October 7th? When we did the beeper attack, we had a bunch of young guys in America who were like, that's awesome. What the hell? Bunch of penises just blew up. It's the coolest thing in the world. That's when they loved us. They loved us when we trolled the shit out of Greta Thunberg when she came here on a boat and we exposed her as a hypocrite.
Right.
People don't like us, in my opinion, when we're look at me, I'm the good Jew.
Okay.
I'm this. I like, the bagels and the cream cheese and the lox and the Hanukkah and then the Hamatash. That's me. I don't believe that we should represent ourselves that way. Now, this is not a dig on American Jews. This is just to say, for the last 100 years, American Jews have held the helm of representation of both Israel and the Jewish people. And it's failed. We need to try something new. I say right now, American Jews need to sit this one out. Or at the very least, we need to start pushing our Mizrahiness, pushing our Ethiopianness, pushing our Sephardiness, pushing our Middle Easternness to the world. Unapologetically, we're not doing this because we want to slight Jews who come from America or come from the West. who are Western minded, we're doing this because it's existential.
Mm.
People have legitimately coined us as colonizers. The ramifications of this long term are dangerous to our people. It's existential.
Mm-hmm.
When people will see us in 2 generations from now as just people who colonized this land, and I have nothing, even though I'm yelling, nobody's listening to me, nobody's putting me on a stage, nobody's putting me in those galas. I don't even want to talk about those, but nobody's putting me to talk in front of thousands of people. You realize that there's a deep-seated issue here in the Jewish world. So I think number one, first and foremost, we're our own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Our own worst enemy. We're shooting ourselves in the foot every single day.
Yeah. Interesting. So speaking of Mizrahi, how have your Mizrahi values, and I want to know what they are, influenced you today?
There's a lot. It's kind of like a way of life. It's a way of being. First of all, I would say the Mizrahi culture is sort of the dominant culture in Israel. Like Israeli culture has gravitated towards Mizrahiness, between the music to the culture to the food.
Yeah.
And that's simply because Mizrahi culture is Middle Eastern culture and we're in the Middle East.
Okay.
So it's good.
Yeah.
What is the beautiful part about this country is that we kind of blend in between those 2 worlds. Like we bring the best of all of our cultures together. But for me, it's like, first of all, it's the religious extremism. Like we don't think rationally. I always coin it on my YouTube channel. I call us Huga Buga people. Because my family is like, really, when you break it down, it's like a bunch of cave people. We act like, and it's funny. But like, this is the culture. These are people who came from some from deeply uncivilized countries who were fighting wars, who didn't have electricity, who didn't have running water, who were, some came from more developed societies. It comes between the music, the culture, obviously the food, which we were raised with, eating like Baghdadi Iraqi dishes. And then for me also, it's a big part of it recently has been unlocking the full story of the Mizrahi ethnicity. So Iraqi is just one side of my family. This is my mom's side. My dad's side is he's a group known as Nashdidan, which are Aramaic speaking, also technically Iraqis that came to Iran and then to the Caucasus Mountains and to Turkey. They were kicked out from everywhere they went pretty much. They had a very, very tough life. So learning about that heritage, my grandma from my dad's side, she's Turkish Ladino. So she was originally from Israel, then kicked out to Spain. From Spain, she was kicked out to Turkey. And they preserved that culture of speaking Spanish and singing Jewish Spanish songs, speaking Ladino. Even my dad speaks Ladino till this day.
Wow.
And just connecting to that lineage and understanding our diasporic story, for me as a Mizrahi, makes it like so much more powerful.
Yeah.
Because I also like Arabs always give me this ultimatum of DNA test yourself or leave the land. It was like, okay, I'll DNA test myself. I DNA tested myself.
And
99% from here. 99% from here.
Wow.
Like all the ethnicities that make up my DNA test all originally stem from this land.
Wow.
And it's like undebatable. You can just see like on the map, you see exactly like you're a Mizrahi Jew, 75%, you're a Sephardi Jew, 75%, you're 3% Ashkenazi Jew. It all comes originally from here. So when you're able to like make those connections, to me, it just brings out the passion, the story, the energy of my ancestors. Like I can feel them, I can see them, I really feel them on my back, carrying me through my day to day.
Wow.
And it pushes me to keep exploring this topic and keep talking to people about it, especially Jewish people.
Yeah.
I want to empower Jewish people to be able to take pieces of the Ethiopian story, the Spanish story, the Polish story, the Russian story, the Iraqi story, put it together. That's your story. Because I'm a Mizrahi Jew, that doesn't exclude me from talking about the Holocaust. Right. But because you're an Ashkenazi Jew, that doesn't exclude you from talking about the Nakba that happened to 1 million Mizrahi Jews in the Middle East. You guys should incorporate that in your story too.
Tell me about the Nakba in the Middle East for the Jews.
I've coined it as a Nakba. Nobody calls it a Nakba. That's just me.
No, because that's provocative. So I want to hear that.
This is me purely appropriating Palestinian culture.
Yeah, which you're good at.
Yeah, I'm very good at it. The Nakba of Mizrahi Jews is essentially before the 1948 and after, there was a massive expulsion of Jews of the Middle East from their countries. For some, it was done in the context of Israel was developing as a state, so we got to kick you out because you guys are all Zionist monsters. In my family, it culminated in June 1st and 2nd, 1941. It was known as the Iraqi Farhud, which was an event inspired by Haj Amin al-Husseini, a Palestinian who worked with Hitler, who pushed to propagate Nazi ideology in the Middle East. It eventually reached Iraq. In June 1st and 2nd, 1941, Iraqi nationalists, Arabs, Muslims, came with swords to behead Jewish people on the streets of Baghdad. My family were a part of that massacre. Luckily, everyone in my family survived that night, but 181 Jews were massacred that night. And then 1,800 had their homes looted. People were raped. People were pillaged. They had their money stolen, their jewelry stolen, their houses burnt down. I frame it to this way for Arabs. October 7th happened now, and it feels real to all of us because we just felt it.
Right.
But throughout the history of Arabs or Jews living in the Arab world, there has been so many October 7th.
Yeah.
And imagine how we felt on October 7th. You think that not every Jew in Iraq the next day knew exactly what happened in Baghdad and didn't feel it in their spine? And don't even forget that it happened before that, 100 years before that, and then 200 years before that, documented massacres in the same exact way.
Yeah.
So the Nakba of Jews culminated in about 1 million Jews from the Mizrahi Jewish diaspora either deciding to leave and saying, we can't put up with this anymore, we're going to go live in Israel, or physically, like my grandparents, being expelled from Iraq. On my grandpa's passport, which I still have, it says you are never welcome to come back to Iraq. You're banished from Iraq for good. Name
other countries that the Jews were expelled from during the
Iraq,
floods.
Lebanon, Syria. In each one of these countries have maintained even till now some Jews in single digits if they pledged allegiance to their country. But Iraq had hundreds of thousands. There's 3. Egypt had 150,000. There's 5. Lebanon had, I think, 60,000. There's 2. Syria has 30 or 40 families in Damascus that are all in hiding. Iran had 100,000. There's 10,000 now. So I can go on and on and on. Yeah. Afghanistan, the last one died recently, and the other one came to Israel. Yemen, there's 1 Jew left, and he's in jail right now. And I think there was also 100,000+. So they've been extremely brutal to us over the years.
Yeah. I want to just shift a little bit to what's going on in the United States, in New York specifically. Nice. With Mamdani and him likely becoming the mayor. Yeah. I'm starting to ask guests this question. Can you paint the picture, the vision for me, the day after of Muslims and the LGBTQ plus community, and tell me what that first meal looks like together?
Oh my God. Isn't it insane, the reality to talk about?
Yeah, but it's a real reality.
Mamdani's amazing.
Yeah.
When I was in New York a couple months ago, I asked my friend Dan, who's a Mizrahi Jew who lives in Brooklyn, I said, I'm getting ads on Twitter and they have millions of views of this Pakistani looking guy. He's a Muslim and he's talking free Palestine. He's talking about making the subway free and rent free and whatever. What, you think he's going to win? He said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
He's going to lose. I said, Dan, are you sure? There's millions of views on this video. Yeah. You sure? He said, don't worry about it. And I don't live in New York anymore, but I love this city. It changed my life when I lived there. It was the most amazing city in the world. I love New York to death. So I have a vested interest in New York, also not turning into a communist compound.
Shariaville. Yeah.
Shariaville. Yeah. But I've seen the campaign. I've been tracking it over the course of the last couple months. You're not going to be able to stop him.
I know.
He's employing exactly what Trump did, which is it's going to be an election won via the media and the podcast. So what does that first meal look like? There's no way it doesn't devolve into chaos.
Right.
I do think, and I have enough belief in the liberal circles in New York City to just be able to turn a blind eye to all the atrocities that Islamic supremacists will espouse. So for example, if they refuse to let them have an LGBTQ parade or march, I will see them accepting that and saying,
really?
Yeah, because they do it all the time.
It needs to just come to their backyard and then they'll wake the F up. But you don't think so?
The problem is we have been told brown good, white bad. Mm-hmm. Brown good, white bad. American bad, foreign immigrant, lower class person good.
Yeah.
And there's no discrepancy.
Yeah.
So no matter what Mamdani does, in my opinion, will always be seen as, well, he's an immigrant. You have to have...
Yeah, but he's now violating your constitutional rights. And he's now not letting you be the white gay person that you want to be that just graduated from an Ivy League school. Theoretically, I agree with you. But when it's all of a sudden, you want to wear your crop top with your keffiyeh, but That's very, very insulting to a Muslim, to a devout Muslim.
Of course.
That's very
haram.
It's very haram. So what, they're going to take off their crop top and put on like a burqa? Like, see, I disagree. I think it's going to be chaos, and they're going to be like, what? Like, it's like what the Ayatollah did. He, convinced all the young people. He made promise after promise, and then he came into power and just like quashed them.
Do you think there's a fundamental difference between American liberals and European liberals? Because in Europe,
yeah, that's a good question.
They're watching it happen now.
Yeah.
And they've been warning for years, for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't do LGBTQ parades or wear crop tops in certain cities anymore in Europe. So
yeah, I
don't think it's going to be as extreme as you're putting it right now.
Okay.
But if you get your first communist Muslim mayor now, and in 8 years you get another, and the demographics start changing, maybe in 20 years you can't wear a crop top and a kafia anymore. You can just wear a niqab and a kafia. But the change starts now, because in Europe they've been warning us about it. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. Stop immigrating them. Stop immigrating them.
Mm-hmm.
We need help. And now you can't be all LGBTQ friendly in some parts of the UK.
Mm-hmm.
In Sweden, forget about it.
Well, you really can in the United States.
You really can.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
now.
Yeah, I just, what would be kind of like ironic is if like the Republican message becomes to save and protect LGBTQ rights. Like it's just, everything is so flipped on its head.
It's all flipped on its head.
Yeah.
And it's funny, since October 7th, it's kind of ushered in like a new age of everything flipped on its head.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let me just ask you, if you could speak directly to Jews around the world who are feeling erased, discouraged, and silenced, what would you want them to know?
Know your history.
Yeah.
Know where you come from. Your history is the most powerful thing about you. Actually, I want to, I have it. Can I show you something?
I would love it.
So I've been collecting some ancient artifacts from the land of Israel. Hold that. Show that to the camera.
Wow.
That's 2,200 years old.
Wow, these are Hebrew letters.
It's written in Paleo Hebrew, and it comes from underground in Jerusalem, and it's from during the Roman occupation of Jerusalem around the time of the Second Temple, before they destroyed the Second Temple, and it's when Jews were being treated akin to how Jews were being treated during Nazi Germany.
Mm-hmm.
They were raping them, they were pillaging them, they were oppressing them. They lived in sewers at certain points. Jews were living in the sewers of Jerusalem. And so they minted coins in revolution of the Roman occupation. And on the coin on the back, it says Shnat Shtaim, which means year 2, to mark the second year of this occupation. And on here, it's the most amazing thing in the world. It says Lecherut Tzion, which means freedom to Zion. So the original Free Palestine is not here in this kafia, it's here on this coin. And if I have a message to Jewish people, make a connection, a tangible connection with your history. This is a tangible connection. I have this in my wallet. I carry it around with me all the time. I was just in Azerbaijan. I gave this whole spiel drunk to a Muslim guy in Azerbaijan. It was the most amazing, empowering thing in the world. But I'm confident about it because I know it, because I feel it, because I touch it. So I recommend come to Israel. Engage with this history. Understand where you come from. You're not from Brooklyn, as much as you like to think. You're not from Connecticut. You're also not from Texas, and you're not from Los Angeles. You're not from Miami. If you were born there, I was born there. You're not from there. You're from something way bigger and way greater and way more beautiful. Connect with that culture. Empower yourself with that culture. Empower yourself with your history, and know your history so you can speak on it. And I really believe if we actually knew our story better, able to convey it, we'd be winning this PR war. If we could come with conviction to people and explain to them who we really are, not just from the Bible. From here, Habibi, you don't believe me? Here's a coin from 1,500 years ago that says, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasul Allah, where the Muslims put a menorah on the coin. Tell me, explain that to me. Here's a coin with a Star of David that says the same thing in Arabic. Here's coins that say the British Mandate Palestine that also say Eretz Israel. Make a connection with your culture, like understand where you come from, and it'll change your life.
Thanks for listening. For more, you can visit Instagram at Grace for Impact Podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation, please follow the show, leave a rating and review. See you next time.
Hold on through the night. Hold on through the night.